we're walking into Cloverfield Farms, and I think this is their vegetable garden, and that's their orchard. But let's see what's inside the vegetable garden.
There's 4.5 acres. In fact, it goes way back in the wild woods back there. There's wild plums and walnuts and the eucalyptus. And it goes up to the almost 2/3 up the hill. And then, but because again, it's just the two of us doing this part-time. This is we just are doing actually actively, intensively growing on a small area. So we have the vegetable garden, a little vineyard here. Yeah. And then on the hillside, over here behind us, up over here, where we've cleared it, we've got a big orchard. So awesome. A lot of fruit trees. Okay. About 50 different fruit trees, and they're just now coming into bloom. You eat from the garden and you stay healthy.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you have your own pharmacy here.
Exactly. So let me give you a basket, and I think, we don't really need to take any tools, but that's escarole. This is rhubarb, where you eat the stems and it tastes like a fruit. These are immature but green garlics. This is the green curly kale. Okay. This is red, called red Ono turnips. This is the purple top white globe turnip, a different one. Oh. The hakurai, or Tokyo turnips. We have patches of strawberries. All the edible flowers you see in the garden are edible. There's some red kale over there, red leaf kale. The really tall ones are another type of collard called purple tree collard. Here, there's some really nice red leaf lettuce. A little bit of spinach in here. Some more chard. So there's chocolate mint, apple mint, and at the very end, there's one called rauram. This is celery. That's sheep sorrel. Like here is used to make tea. It's called Greek mountain tea. This is lemon balm. Then this is a little watermelon radish. It's one that's green on the outside, red on the inside. I bet you that's a nice one. Bok choy. There's some peas in here. Ginger root. But try that. It's delicious. Have you tried this?
You can just take a bite of it?
Yeah, that's the idea.
There's so much variety here. I've never seen some of these plants before.
What's the one with the large stalk coming out of the...
This one here, that's a fairly mature kale.
Kale, okay.
Oh.
And it's getting ready. They bloom in the springtime and then they're done. But this has been growing for almost the whole year. You continue to harvest the leaves from the top. This is a more mature one, just starting to flower. And they do that every spring.
What kind of height does it get to? Does it just endlessly grow?
They'll get up maybe at most 5 feet tall. That's fava beans. Okay. It's a Mediterranean bean. This used to feed the Roman army way, way back. But the leaves are edible. Okay. And they taste, you might go ahead and taste it. They taste a little bit like a bean.
And along with picking vegetables by hand, they also have a variety that you can get in potted form. Hey everyone, we're back in the kitchen and we just got back from Cloverfield Organic Farms. So today we're going to be making a nice hearty soup using some of the produce that we got from the farm. And we're making soup just because it's been really cold and quite rainy the past couple of weeks in the Bay Area. And no matter where you are, it's most likely winter, maybe except if you're in Australia. And to top it all off, it's also flu season. So we thought this hearty soup recipe would be great to get out of those cold, flu-y funk. So to start off, let's go through the ingredient list. The first thing we have is some Lancinato kale, also known as dinosaur kale. The second thing we have are fava bean leaves. Traditionally, beans are used in a lot of hearty soups, but Jacqueline actually doesn't like beans too much, and we actually saw they had fava bean leaves that had the similar flavorings, but obviously in leafy form. The rest of the ingredients are a simple chicken broth. We'll be using some mushrooms, and we'll be using some sausage, and then to top it all off with everyone's favorite, we're going to be using some bacon. So the first thing we did is wash the kale and the fava bean plants, and what we're going to do to prepare the fava bean plant is we're going to just remove the leaves, which is what we'll be putting in our soup. So an interesting thing about the fava bean plant is that there's actually another edible portion, which is the flowering bud, and it kind of has its own unique taste as well, but today we won't be incorporating it. So the next thing we're going to do is do a rough chop of the kale. So while it may look like it's a huge pile, it's definitely going to shrink down considerably when we put it in the pot and cook it up into the soup. So right now we're using about, let's say about 7 to 8 leaves, but it's going to grow into, it's kind of going to shrink into kind of a smaller ball. So we're just going to do a simple rough chop. You can eat all the parts of it, but the thing is you definitely do not want to eat the kale raw, as it's extremely bitter. Some do though, I think. You can kind of see just how tough and fibrous these kale stalks are. So you definitely want to cook them down. So next we're going to prepare the mushrooms, and we're just going to slice them. So now we're going to be cutting up the sausages, and we bought a 4-pack, but we're just going to use 2. And of course, again, like I mentioned before, you can use as little or as many pieces as you'd like. And we're also going to be using bacon, so just cut this open. For this recipe, we'll be using 4 slices of bacon. And we're using a little smaller pot, so what I'm going to do is just cut it right in half. Now that everything's ready and cut up, we're going to slowly cook our bacon at a very low heat, just so that the fat can slowly render and we're not, quickly frying it up. I'm going to give you guys a quick sneak peek of the bacon. It's frying up really nicely. All the fat's been rendered, and I'm about to take it out. Then we're going to be cooking up the sausage. Some nice crispy bacon. So now we have all this fat in the pot, and we're gonna, like I said, cook the sausage in it. And that's just gonna be about 5 to 7 minutes. So now we're ready to just add the mushrooms. I did a quick taste test of the sausage, and it just tastes delicious mixed with that bacon fat. And what the mushrooms will do is just gonna soak up all that fat. It's gonna take in the flavoring from the bacon and the sausage. It's gonna turn out really well. And we're gonna make sure to mix it so that the fat just coats all of the mushroom and everything is cooked well together. Check out the mushrooms. They've been shrinking a little bit. They're gonna brown, and while the bacon and the sausage really give that savory, salty flavor, the mushrooms are definitely going to add kind of like an earthy flavor to your soup. You'll notice that there's like a crust on the bottom of your pot or whatever you're using. And what we're going to do is just add in a little bit of the chicken broth just to deglaze it. And again, you can leave everything in the pot. I'm just going to add just a little bit, turn the heat up a little more as it's going to be cooled down by the adding of the broth. After it's done deglazing, we're going to add the remaining chicken stock and the kale as well as the fava bean leaves. And what we're going to do after we mixed everything together is put the heat on medium high, depending on how your burner runs. And we're gonna let your mixture boil. And once it boils, we're gonna let it go down to a simmer and simmer for about 35 minutes or so, just so all those veggies and everything can break down and the flavors can develop just a little bit more. So it just started boiling, and just gonna mix it around one more time. So again, making sure that everything's cooking under the broth, and I'm gonna lower the heat to about low medium, and leave it on a soft simmer. Just gonna cover it just with the tiniest bit of air, just so that, again, it doesn't spill over. 35 minutes have been up, and we're now ready to serve. So this soup is gonna be really good for you just because kale has a lot of vitamin A and a lot of vitamin C, and then the fava bean leaves are pretty high in vitamin B. And then of course you get the protein from all the sausage and bacon that we have included. So this soup is gonna be really hearty, and it's gonna be really good for you and helping you fight off the common cold or anything like that. So what we're gonna do is chop up a little bit of bacon and use it as a garnish and nice bit of crunchy texture. So it's all plated and a lot of bacon garnish, but you want to test it out, try it?
Yeah, I'll try it. Gotta make sure I get a little bit of everything. It's hot. Really taste the bacon. It's really good. I don't usually like soups too much, but this one's really good. You can really taste all the flavors of everything just combined in it. You wanna try it now?
Yep. So I normally do not like kale, so test this out. It's so good on like a cold day. It's amazing, I think. And honestly, if you don't like kale or vegetables like that, it's a really great way to mask it. But these are really good for you when it's a cold winter day, so highly recommend it. Do you think I should make this again?
I think if I'm sick, yes, but in general, I'm not a huge fan of soups, so maybe not. Or maybe you add some noodles in, I'll really like it. So what do you think?
I kind of like it. I really like soup, so I think I'll make it and then I'll eat it for myself. If you guys are interested in this recipe and need something on a cold winter day or a rainy day like we've been having in the Bay, just check out the description box below and we'll have ingredients and step-by-step instructions on how to make it.
Thanks for watching.